I just want to thank you all again for coming to the Tea Party, and I'm going to give you an official welcome here with my supervisor, Mr. Bob Force.
So ladies, welcome to the third annual Tea Party. Again, you all look beautiful. Looks like you're going to have a great time. Got a great slate of events that are going to happen, so I'm not going to stand up here any longer and keep you from it. So enjoy, have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you for coming.
I'm Pam Pearson. I'm the yoga instructor for the senior division. Been teaching yoga for about 8 years. And I teach mat yoga, which means that we do get up and down from the ground. I teach at Mill Road and I teach at Evelyn Mount. I've got over 100 seniors doing mat yoga. I also teach chair yoga, which means we're seated in a chair or standing behind or beside a chair. And I teach at all 3 locations, Evelyn Mount, Mill Road, and also Paradise Park. And I'm a believer that all of you can do yoga. Every one of you.
How many people in here have taken a Zumba class? Okay. And again, you know, you just see people in places. I saw her dad Valentine's dance like 3 years ago. And I said, he was passing out cards, and I said, I've been looking for a Zumba instructor. So I called up Patricia, and she said she'd love to do it, and she signed on with us, and she's been over there every Thursday since. She usually has quite a crowd on Thursdays, about 30, 35 people or more, and I think it's almost that big on Monday evenings too. It got so good on Thursdays that the people asked could we have an additional class, because they didn't want to just do it once a week, they wanted to do it more than once. So that's how the Monday night class got started. So here's Shannon.
Anyone come? And inside? 1, 2. 1, 2. Smart?
Let me shut up and give this to Lucile. And to help you record the stories of your life is a little journal. Okay? All right. And she told the truth. I grew up under this lady, another one of my mamas.
After we got married, we decided to move to Reno, Nevada. And he was an insurance man, so he said he liked the climate there and, you know, the weather and whatnot. And I don't think I've ever heard of Reno, Nevada. 2 terms as president of NAACP, and I was treasurer, I think, for 9 years of that organization. I am current president and life member of the Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, and I am really, really involved with that. I have been a member since 1972 when it was originated in Reno. And on Saturday, we're having our Founders Day Luncheon. We are honoring the first ladies in the community. And I am going to be awarded the Sojourner Truth Award at that luncheon. I'm also involved with, deeply involved with Evelyn Mount. I have been since the 70s. The Evelyn Mount Community Outreach Center, where we feed the homeless. So she's been on my list for probably 50 years. Job, I work at voter registration. I started there, in the 60s, I guess. And I worked there since 67. I think I worked voter registration for 48 years. And in 1980, I did work at the census. I think that was the only full-time job I had. So I was the president's receptionist at the American Federal Bank. And I was there for 10 years because American Federal turned into Norwest, and Norwest turned into Wells Fargo.
Nobody knows that story.
Yeah. So I was there, and when Norwest took over, the president's office moved to Las Vegas, and I had no intentions of living in Las Vegas. So I stayed in Reno. I retired from the bank, I thought, in 1999. And I was off 6 months, and I said, well, I really do have something. I should do something. So that's when I applied for Reno Gazette. And I went to Reno Gazette in the circulation department, working with Carolyn Cooper. And I was there, I retired from there in 2009. I think I was there 9 years. Yeah, I was there part-time. And what I like about all of the jobs I've had, I always tell them up front that I'm involved in a lot of organization, and there are times when I need to take off work to go to my meetings. And they all agreed to let me do that. And I started volunteering, I think, in the 70s. I was PTA president for Lincoln Park, Dilworth, and Reed High School. To keep yourself busy. I am always busy, and my doctor tells me, he said, that's why he thinks I'm so healthy, because I'm active and busy. Yeah. I am 75 now, and
Stronger than I am.
and a year ago I had hip surgery, and 2 weeks after my hip surgery I was driving. Yeah, wasn't supposed to be. No physical therapy, so they just called me Wonder Woman. And the places that there are so many places. There's a food bank, Evelyn Mount Community Center, the schools, Boys and Girls Club, Safe Embrace, Committee to Aid Abused Women, and Catholic Charities. And all of these places the seniors can get involved in. They need to keep busy, keep their mind active. That is true. So the last thing I have to say, I want you to stay active, stay involved, stay healthy, and stay young at heart.
I have a treat for you next. I was looking in the archives of Reno and Sparks, and I ran across this lady that was living in the 1940s. And I asked her who she was, and she told me her name was Margaret Goss Stoddard Clark. Assemblywoman, Washoe County, 1923 state legislature. And I said, well, could you come to our tea party? And so she said, yes, I will come to your tea party. She got up out of her grave. And I just want you to know that she is here today, Miss Margaret Goss Stoddard Clark.
I'm honored to have been invited to have tea with you all. Hosting as well as attending teas has always been one of my favorite pastimes. As you heard, my name is Margaret Goss Stoddard Clark, and I was and am the first woman assemblyman elected from Washoe County to the state legislature in 1923. And I might say that I am the first native-born because we had suffrage in 1914 and 3 ladies came before me, but not from Washoe County. I was born in Virginia City in 1890, as was my younger brother Harry. And my parents' families came to the Comstock in the late 1860s and the late 1870s. And that's where my parents met and where I was born. We moved to Reno in 1896 when my father became manager and a few years later owner of the Riverside Hotel. I would like to do now, in a traditional Chautauqua presentation, I would answer questions in my character. But in the interest of time, what I would like to do is tell you a little bit about our organization, teacher of history, and a former principal at Libby Booth Elementary School. And while I was a teacher and I watched my teachers, there was just a huge absence of information about women in Nevada history. And it isn't just Nevada history, it's U.S. history. Jean Ford, in 1996, got a hold of me and said if I had that complaint, then I needed to do something about it and collect information on women. This is collected by oral histories, It is collected by biographies. We ask people to write biographies. It is collected by diaries and journals. And I would urge you to contact me right after this or go to NevadaWomen'sHistoryProject.org.
And all I want to know is you having fun yet?
Yeah! So let me tell you how I started working here. 2 years ago, I suddenly became separated from my husband. I'd been a single, stay-at-home mom for 13 years. 13 years. I do have 7 kids. My oldest is 15. My youngest is 2 years. I started working here as a volunteer because being a stay-at-home mom, you don't really have much field experience. So seniors was the perfect direction for me to go. So I started working with seniors and volunteering and learning new things every day as a volunteer. My objective with my presentation is for you guys to leave or write your story so that your next generations and stuff can enjoy and know what you went through and what you lived through and see how they can relate to you and how that tradition can be passed on. Carry on that legacy. Carry on your name, your family's sake by writing things down in a journal. And they can pass it on as a tradition.
Help me welcome our next presenter, Roberta Stafford, as she comes.
If I could get some volunteers to go over to the cart over here on my right side of the room. There are baskets with all of the products that you guys are going to need to actually make something. So 1 basket per table. There should be enough in each basket for each table to make carts.
Now our next presenter is Gail Merritt from Senior Services. She's another staff.
Well, how's everybody doing right about now?
Great.
Okay. What is a salt glove? The application of wet salt applied to the skin with friction. And I'm going to show you how to do friction. It's like a, come on, everybody practice so you can, when you get it, and then you're going to be going like this, and you're going to be going like that, and you're going to be like, so it's applied to the skin to make the skin glow and bring about a fresh supply of blood to the surface. And what that does is help with circulation.